Good afternoon. I'm Senior Master Sergeant J.C. Roman from the Career Assistance Advisor's Office here at Luke Air Force Base. Today I have Command Chief of the 56th Fighter Wing, Chief Thompson. Welcome, Chief Thompson.
Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. So today we're going to talk a little bit about kind of your life and what you've done in the military, your experiences, and how your career has built you to where you're at now.
Okay.
All right, Chief. So first question, I really want to know a little bit about yourself, kind of where you started and kind of the middle ground of what you've done throughout your career.
That's a big one. That's a broad question. So I guess we'll start at the beginning, right? I enlisted in the Air Force right here in Phoenix, Arizona in 1990 on the delayed enlistment program. So I actually entered service in 91. Went in open general, didn't really know what I wanted to do, despite some of my good friends' best advice that if you're going to go in the military, you should at least know what your job is.
Sure.
But I ended up open general anyway. The Air Force thought I'd make a great weather observer. So I spent some time at March Air Force Base, Camp Page, Korea, and then eventually at Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma as an Air Force weather observer. I was doing this for 4 years in college money, right? I didn't have some big driving desire really to be a career airman, which is interesting. I mean, my father was in the Air Force. In fact, I was born just outside of Chanute Air Force Base where he worked on, I don't know, F-100 and somethings back in the day, right? He worked on I think he was a tech for the simulators back then out of Chanute, and that's where we were stationed there when I was born. His father was in the Army, and my grandfather's brother was in the Army Air Corps.
Okay.
He'd been shot down 3 times in World War II until finally his luck ran out and he became a prisoner of war on the 3rd occasion and got to spend the bulk of the remainder of the war as a POW in Germany. So you would think I would have had more of a family drive to do this, but growing up I thought, hey, not really interested in college. I'll probably just go in the military. I don't know really what I'll do, maybe Marine Corps. And then when it was time to come in, by then it had been a couple years after high school. A bunch of my friends had already gone in various services, and they all kind of talked to me about their services. And what I found interesting was all of them advised me to go in the Air Force. So that's what really drove me to the Air Force more than any family bonds. Didn't really know what job to do, so open general worked out fine, and weather was great. I mean, it was an academically, intellectually challenging job, trying to outguess Mother Nature.
Outsmart it.
Yeah, my friends used to tease me about being a weather guesser all the time. I said, hey, look, if we're getting it right 50% of the time, we're beating the odds.
Pretty good.
So although it was academically challenging, I just got really bored being indoors all the time, and I wanted to do something different. And as I was coming up on my 2-year window, I kind of felt like I had to decide, cross-train, go to advanced weather school, or separate. Well, I'd been in for 2 years, and I don't think I'd taken a single college class. So considering I came in for college money, I wasn't making great headway. But at basic training, on the day that we did our dream sheets, I vividly remember in walked this strapping staff sergeant in what was BDUs at the time, all crisp and starched up, and he was wearing a beret indoors for some reason. And he walked to the front of the room and he put in this video and showed guys jumping out of planes and riding dirt bikes and climbing mountains and whatnot, and it seemed awfully cool. But man, I was only here for 4 years in college money, so I wasn't going to do it. So fast forward 2 years, and now I'm bored and I'm in, and I'm like, well, it's I felt like, hey, you got the number of that truck driving school? I might need to call them. So I started looking into it and figured out kind of what it took to do the cross-training piece through retraining, and wanted to align my timing up. And so I volunteered to go to Korea at the 2-year mark, so I would come home right in my careers window. Little did I loved it. I was at Camp Page with the 501st Attack Helicopter Battalion. It is northern South Korea.
Is that one at base still or no?
It's in Chuncheon,
Okay.
South Korea. Beautiful, beautiful part of the country. Had a lot of great mountain climbing around there. There's a lake, there's a college.
I think that's the one I haven't been to that base.
It's a really small installation. They got attacked. At the time, they had attack helicopters and a company of 60. So, ironically, that's where I started to get a love for flying in helicopters, as I got to ride with the Army in their HH-60s quite a bit. So, a little foreshadowing to my career as a PJ. And then as at least once I remember the PJs from OSAN back then had flown up to do some force penetrator training, and the Army guys came and grabbed me like, hey, don't you want to be a PJ? There's some guys outside, so I got to go out and meet them.
That's awesome.
So the first hoist I got to ride, kind of as PJ training, was with some PJs out of Korea, so that was good
That's
fun.
awesome.
So loved it. Bottom line, got back from Fort Sill. That's where I did my cross training 2-year pipeline. Went on to be a PJ, got to spend time, and we'll kind of accelerate this part. Got to spend time both in Air Combat Command doing conventional combat search and rescue, and in Air Force Special Operations Command doing special tactics, rescue and other operations. And then I also got to spend some time at AETC doing some training. So it was, it's been an interesting and eclectic career. And then somewhere along the way, somebody thought it would be an interesting idea to nominate me for the Joint Leaders and Teams effort for General Goldfein up at the Pentagon. I got to go do that. I was blessed to take that stretch assignment, get out of my comfort zone, go up to the Pentagon, be in an environment I wasn't familiar with, wasn't really thinking I was ready for. Loved it. General Killo selected me to be his SEL for that effort. We got to do some really neat things, got to see some inner workings of the Pentagon, which was great. And as I thought I was going to be retiring out of the Pentagon, my phone rang and General Cadbury offered me the opportunity to come here and join the team at Luke. And although we were ready to retire right there, kind of in the DC, Virginia, McLean area, and what a cool opportunity to get to come and finish up a career right where we started.
Back home.
And I never would have thought I'd come to Phoenix otherwise. You know, there's property taxes here in Arizona. I haven't paid property taxes in a long time.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, state income taxes
State
and
taxes,
property
yeah.
taxes, right? So after being in Florida and Texas and Nevada, I got kind of spoiled for a while. So, but it's great. We're super excited to be here. This has been an amazing way. What a great capstone for my career. It's been a lot of fun. And,
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
So-
That's the long answer to a short question.
It is. It's good though. It's good. I
Right.
think it's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in there, you know, and maybe you left out some stuff that, but it's fun to kind of go through and see how the people's career have gone. They're really their story, really.
It's really an airman story, and I think we all have them, right? Every airman has their story, and they're all unique, and they're all a little bit different. You know, I remember meeting some airmen in different walks of life, and you'll get an appreciation out of this because it's a transport story.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love my transport.
Right, so, you know, being a PJ for a decade or so at this time, I'm pretty convinced I know everything there is to know, and I had the good fortune of being in the first waves of both Afghanistan and Iraq operations, and you know, I was convinced I knew what was going on. And somewhere around 2006-07, I'm at, nope, I'm sorry, fast forward, it was 2013, I show up in Texas and I get put in charge of the 342nd Training Squadron, and I'm looking through all of the senior NCO serfs to try to get an idea of who's who and what's going on, and I come across a tech sergeant up at Camp Bullis at our CAST program back when it was Combat Airman Skills Training, right? And man, he's got a Bronze Star, and I'm looking at it, he's a 2T. I'm like, oh, it must be for the deployment. Okay, fair enough. Flipping through some more, I come to another one, another 2T, up at Bullis.
Up at the hill.
2 Bronze Stars. I was like, all right, now I got another story. So I make a point to go up to Camp Bullis about a week later, and I get an opportunity to kind of meet the team that's up there, and as I'm going along, I'm like, oh, I just looked at your records and your surf. You gotta tell me your Bronze Star story. I'm super curious. Now, of course, I'm thinking it's, well, you know, I deployed for 90, 120, 180 days. It was good stuff. I got, you know, we supported some operations. You know, in the end, they gave me a Bronze Star. That's what I thought the story was going to be. You know, I was convinced.
Yeah.
No, that was not it. He very humbly, without missing a beat, just goes, well, Chief, you know, I was in lieu of, so I was supporting the Army, and we were on a convoy up Green Route. We got ambushed, and the RPG hit my truck, and it killed my passenger. We bailed out, and the complex ambush came around, and we got in a bit of a gunfight, and then I had to stop him. I was like, wait a second, hold on.
What job do you do?
Tell me this again, back up. I was not ready for that. And it was just an amazing story of everyday airman valor. It's airman stories, and you never know where you're gonna find the amazing stories all over our Air Force. It's been awesome. I just happen to have one of them.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's pretty awesome.